Dan.
I'm Chris.
And we are Geek Chic Promotions. Welcome back to Nerd Rage. Huzzah! We're here live. It's been a minute because we keep having so many conventions to work and whatnot.
That's right. So last weekend you were at Rose City Comic Con.
Yes.
So we did a little pre-recorded thing.
A little pre-record, you know.
Yeah.
But now we're here. We're live.
We
Ta-da.
are.
And not only is it Batman Day, yesterday was her birthday.
It was.
It's her birthday. So we're drinking some champagne.
Champagne.
So cheers. Cheers to you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
Clearly,
Batman Day for everybody else.
We did not drink enough last night.
Never enough to celebrate birthdays. All right, so let's share this around. We do have quite a lot to talk about today. And the two things that you found, I am still kind of shocked about.
Yeah, what do we want to talk about first here? I think we got Ms. Monopoly. We have the Princess Bride remake.
Yeah.
And we have Game of Thrones spin-off series. So... Ooh, let's do Ms. Monopoly first because I got some nerd rage happening there.
I do have some feelings about that.
So
why can't I see
the gist of it is that Monopoly came out with another version where Mr. Moneybags, whatever his name is, has a niece, an inventor niece, and that is who is on the game. And basically, the point behind the game was supposed to spotlight female inventors because that's who Ms. Monopoly is. And thanks for saying happy birthday, Rod.
Hi, Rod. I'm trying to see the comments on my iPad. It's not working. Sorry, I'm freaking out over here.
Okay.
You keep talking about it.
I'll keep talking.
All right.
So anyway, Ms. Monopoly, apparently, in order to market it, Hasbro actually gave a bunch of money to female inventors to market this game. And so while the intent is really good, it also I think is kind of backfiring because first of all, they give women 20% more when they pass go. Okay.
So you get more money when you pass go, and then there's like,
and then you have to support female-led inventions, which are like things like Wi-Fi and
it's just so weird to
and
talk
bulletproof
about.
vests, I guess, were invented by a woman. And so they have all these things around the board that you can invest in that are led by females. And it's just here's the part that backfired.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing with that. That's not equality. That
it feels like it was trying really hard to be progressive, but is actually the opposite. Because it made, like, as she was describing it, I was just like, I feel dirty. Like, I don't like this at all. And there's, like, special cards of, like, you have a baby, so now you have maternity leave, and your boss is a woman, so she gets it. And also it was like, and here's money for the maternity leave for you and your baby daddy. And it was just like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
I feel like you're like assuming a lot about me right now.
Well, the thing is that I'm all for equality, but not superiority. Like we wanted equal pay. We didn't want to get 20% more, which is what they're giving in the game. Because obviously there's a pay gap, okay? And women make 20% less than men. But that doesn't mean we get to make 20% more in a game. Like that is just messed up.
Like I get it's kind of a pendulum, but I feel like the pendulum, you're swinging it the wrong way. Like just
I feel like
bring
that's
it
what's
right to the center.
happening in everything.
Yes.
It's like all of a sudden there's this overcompensation happening, and what we really want is just equality.
It's just equal. I don't know why this is hard.
Right? And so like it's that way
everywhere.
everywhere.
You want 20% more. It's like, no, everybody settle down.
And it's that way with like the Me Too movement. It's like this huge like, over thing where like all of a sudden there's just like, oh, now we have to believe all women no matter what they say. And it's like, okay, no, we're not asking you to believe all women because some women you probably shouldn't believe. But we are asking you for like the opportunity to listen to the ones that are telling the truth.
It's just any
all of this. So like that friend that jokes about Asian people being really good at math but finishes
Wait, hold on, I gotta find this.
It's absolutely true.
Why can't I see the comments? All right, you might need to open Facebook on yours.
I'm opening up.
I thought I was so cool and brought my iPad instead of my laptop because I was like, oh, I need to bring a whole laptop.
Okay.
My internet is not working. That's why we're back up at Chris's house to do it here. And so far, so good on her internet.
Yep, we're doing it okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see here. And now we have dead air while we're doing this.
Yes, it's fine. It's fine.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, and it's just so weird to have it be a Monopoly game. Like, it's just the whole thing makes no sense, and it comes out of the blue. And then so we were kind of reading up on it. We went there. Was it the Instagram you were reading up on? Because we had to we started searching the hashtag Ms. Monopoly.
Yeah, the hashtag was like super. Oh god, nobody was on board with this.
No,
like no one. And it's kind of. It's kind of scary in a way, where we're looking at it and seeing a company like Hasbro, who has probably a marketing department and a marketing team, and they all thought this was a good idea. Like, were there any women on this marketing team?
See, that's the thing that I always think about, because I feel like anyone would be like, this is a terrible idea.
Okay, so Rod says it's like a friend that jokes about Asian people being really good at math, but finishes by saying, "But that's a good thing." And yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, you're still like separating like an entire community. What was that one comment? Was just like, just identify as a woman. Fixed it.
Yes. Yeah.
Just whoever's playing, just identify as a woman.
Is
I fixed
pretty
it.
funny, to be honest. I mean, we both laughed at that because it was like, honestly, that's kind of
It's kind of true.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, and it's so funny because like Chris, because usually we get a lot of our news from like different websites and all that kind of stuff that we talk about on this, and then Chris was just like, I found some stuff in my magazine. I was like, your magazine? What? Who is it? Yeah, so Miss Monopoly.
Yep.
Time's up, rich Uncle Pennybags. A new version reverses the pay gap, giving females more money when they pass go and having players invest in women's inventions. Like, you could have just added that to Monopoly. Like, you could have just put out Monopoly and then just...
You know what I think is happening? I think that a lot of companies are like, we need to capitalize on this whole movement.
When you said it to me, I swear to God, if I had looked at the picture and it was pink, I was going to murder somebody.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's not pink, so thank God for that.
Pink, and it costs more. Like,
right.
all of those things where it's like,
The
it's for a
pink
woman.
tax,
It's like, it's just a different color. Like those pens for women where the ink isn't pink. It's just the pen. It's just like...
Well, there's also like this whole thing in the entertainment business where now it's just like, oh, we're going to have all women doing everything to show how progressive we are. So we're going to have like all female-led movies coming out that's with a female director and a female producer, female everything.
Which
and it's
is
like, okay,
great.
that's great, except that it's also like, first of all, I don't think you need that. Okay, I think you can have men involved.
Yeah, I just think that
you should give it an opportunity.
You know, that they're good at. Like,
right.
they should just, if they're good directors, then give them work.
Yes.
Don't hire
agree with
just
that.
because
Just
they're
because
a woman.
they're a woman. Yeah, where all of a sudden I feel like there's a spotlight being shown on me because I'm a woman. So I'm like, am I getting this because I deserve it, or am I getting it because you need a woman?
Exactly.
Which we talked about that, like for panels at conventions.
Oh. Hi, Eric. He wished you a happy birthday as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So Rod says, like, Hollywood needs diversity representation. Yes, 100% in the writer's room, just as much or more than on screen. There either weren't women in the marketing for that game, or they were too afraid to speak up, or
Conceited
and
taking what they could get.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just...
And we're talking about that, like, these days, like, since I do, scheduling, I schedule panels and create panels for conventions. And I like to have at least one woman representing that voice on every panel.
Yeah.
But it gets to the point where we're being asked to be on panels that we honestly don't know much about. And I feel
we're
like
women. And it's kind
we're
of like
the token
I'll
woman.
take it.
Yeah, like we'll be on the panel, but still it's just like, all right, you needed a chick on this panel.
You needed a little more diversity on this panel, and unfortunately there's like, lady.
Yes. Oh, girl.
Right?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I don't really have much experience on this, but I guess I'll talk about it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, luckily that some of the stuff that they're putting me on is definitely like I know about, but like, it's nice to, again, it's nice to be able to have that spotlight and be able to talk, like, and that sort of thing. But we know we were just put on these panels because we're women.
Yep.
Like, But honestly, we've done that too when we're trying to like flesh out an entire like panel of people when it's just like old white dude, old white dude, old white dude.
Yeah.
Like, Sally, do you have anything to say on this subject, please?
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, it gets a little hard because it's discouraging when you're that female.
Wasn't there a diversity panel that we either read about?
Where it was all men?
When it was all men,
Yeah.
it was all white men. Was that at WonderCon one year?
I don't remember
It was really funny. I mean, like, messed up, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I can't even.
So
Anyway.
we're not really on board with this Miss Monopoly, but it doesn't sound like anybody else is either. So like we're fine. I feel like it'll come and go. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So the other thing that she found in her magazine today was that they're doing yet another spin-off of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So this is on the House Targaryen, 300 years before Daenerys. So
more dragons. I'm okay with that.
All right. I mean, we're gonna watch it.
I said that earlier because like we started talking about it, it's like, man, it's just that's a
God.
lot.
Like, and there's
really
this
another
other spin-off, and there's like
spin in this, and then like there's a long pause. We're like, we're gonna watch it.
We're totally
though.
gonna watch it.
Like,
yeah, I mean, but I feel like, what was it that you said? You're like, why can, or maybe it was Marcus that said it, who was like, why can't they just find something else to do? Like, what? Do we really need to like just go digging back into the archives and
then
keep going
also,
back?
is he going to be writing it, or is it going to be just like
the writers who literally rushed through everything and gave us that unsatisfactory ending?
And with the amount of rage that people had about that last season,
Yeah.
I don't think I think you should let that alone.
Yeah.
Like let it be,
Maybe
let it
just
rest.
Let it die. Yeah. But you know. We'll see.
Well, at the end of the day, I'll watch
see.
it. It's the same thing with like the Lord of the Rings show that they're doing. It's like, yeah, I'll watch it.
All right, yeah. We'll see
I
how
love
it
the movie,
goes.
but I'll watch it.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. But also, I mean, speaking of that, because right now we're in that age of remakes and reboots where clearly we cannot figure out anything that is original. And when we do find something original, we beat it to death by doing sequels on it
And prequels and
betweenquels and all that other stuff, because I picture a bunch of dudes sitting in a conference room going like, this was a success, do more, we have to do more immediately.
Have you seen the Key and Peele their bit about was it Gremlins 2?
Yes. Oh my God, I was just talking about that.
If you guys haven't seen this bit,
I
it's
was literally
so
talking about that.
funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But whenever I think of like a ridiculous movie, I think of that scene. It's like, yeah, more, do it. He's made of electricity. Mm-hmm. Like, I love it. Oh, we had a couple more people join in.
Let's explore the rich backstory behind the Starbucks cup.
Yes, yes.
Actually, I'd watch that.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch
And then George, hey George, what's up, buddy? He says, doesn't the concept of prequels bug you like they do me? I mean, certain characters will live and the history. Okay, how's this?
I'd rather show 100 years after Bran became kind would be way more interesting.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay, so here's my biggest issue with prequels, and I'm going to use the Star Wars prequels as an example. I know I hate them. You all know I hate them. It's fine. But here's one of the things they missed an opportunity, because I feel like prequels do have the problem where whatever the big reveal was in the original series or movie or whatever, they reveal it again. So instead of it like actually being something like, oh, well, if you've never seen these movies, you can actually start here and just go through. So, for example, I thought it would be great is if in the prequels of Star Wars, you never actually saw Yoda. You only heard stories about him and how badass he was, and he was like, oh, Master Yoda just demolished this entire army by himself. How crazy is that? So that by the time you get to Empire Strikes Back and you see this little muppet of a creature, it's even more shocking.
Yeah.
And little stuff like that when there are just ways that you could do more. And I haven't finished. I've just barely started the Dark Crystal series, but so far I'm really happy that it's like, because the whole thing of the original movie was them finding out that the Skeksis were doing that. So I like it that it's going in a different direction than this.
And it's actually super cool because when you obviously if you've watched the original movie, they one of the Gelfling, I can't remember his name, the Gelfling that is in that original movie, has to find the shard. Okay, Now, you don't know from the end of the series, spoilers, from the end of the series to this movie that was made in the 80s, you don't know what happened to the shard. Because at the end of the series, they have it. They have it.
Oh.
And so I don't know if they're going to do another series of like what happened. But
Interesting.
the prequel is so far, like it's such an interesting timeline.
Yeah.
That you're like, you still don't know though. Like,
well, and that's the thing with any of these prequels, when you're in such a large world like Game of Thrones, like anything like that, you don't have to have it focused on the Targaryens. You don't have to have it focused on the Skywalkers. You can go somewhere else.
Right.
You can focus on something else because the world is so rich, and that's where you can still have the originality while you still like adhere to the fan base that just adores it.
repeat until it has no soul left.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much, Joshua. You are correct. Oh, and George, wish you a happy belated as well. Thanks,
you.
guys. We had a very fun night with just friends, and we went to this place called Idle Hour here in Los Angeles. That's a Rocket Man themed bar.
And it's a barrel.
It is. It's a giant barrel, and then like the back opens up, and it's just this beautiful like outdoor area. It was lovely. Lovely food and lovely drink and lovely company. It was grand. Yeah, and Rod says, well, we're on the 90s, 2000s comeback. We need the creators of Scary Movie, not another teen movie, to make prequel movie and spin-off movie. Yes! That's actually surprising that it hasn't happened already.
Actually, that is kind of interesting that they haven't done that. I feel like that's so obvious.
It is, to just do the between-quel.
Well, and the reason why we're talking about this is because of the whole
Princess Bride. One of the most perfect movies ever.
Yeah.
Like, I put that in the category with like Never Ending Story and like all those movies that don't touch
need
them.
to be remade.
Don't touch them. And there's been so many, but I have to, the one thing I will say is that it's been a lot of amazing tweets and GIFs to come out of this. Like my favorite meme was a picture of, now I'm blanking on the actress's name that played Princess Buttercup, but she...
it's Robin Wright.
Yeah, so she's in Wonder Woman as like, you know,
she's
the queen, blanking on her name. But like everybody was like, we don't need it. We don't need
Mascara, the
yeah,
queen
right.
of the I don't know, whatever her name is.
They're like, we don't need a reboot. We already know like where she ended up and all that kind of stuff.
I know where she ended up, and she's a badass.
And then Wesley made a very sweet tweet.
Yes, what was that?
He said because the line in the movie is like it's a very beautiful chest to be ashamed for because she's going to kill herself.
Yes.
And so he says there's very few gems of movies out there. Be ashamed to ruin this one. And
Yes.
she's like, oh, don't ruin it.
Right.
And you are right. Because I know we talk a lot about on our show here that like nerds, we do have this feeling of ownership of stuff and like. Yeah, it won't ruin the original movie, but just don't. How about not?
Yeah, like why? And I feel like if you're gonna remake something that was like a cult classic that, well, no, not even that. I don't even want that.
I don't want that.
I don't want that.
Like Big Lebowski, do not touch that movie.
Yeah, don't touch that movie. There's a whole bunch of stuff where I'm like
don't
just
touch it.
Leave it alone. If it was,
and somebody, so one thing somebody said to me yesterday was like, well, they want to bring up like a new, fan audience or whatever, and I was like,
then just watch it.
Yeah, then do a special release in the movies for the whatever anniversary. Like, don't remake it. It is how quickly also foreign movies get remade into American movies. Like, do you remember Let the Right One In?
No.
So it's an amazing vampire story, and it's one of the best-selling books in I think the UK or something, just in another country. And they did, I believe it's in Dutch, but it's a foreign movie. And within 8 months, they already had an American version of it.
Oh wow!
And it was like pretty much shot for shot. And it's like, humans, just read the subtitles. Like, you don't have to remake a movie.
That's true.
So it's better.
And I also think that there's like, this huge thing that I'm also not crazy about, which is making a sequel with the people aged like 20 years. Like when they do like they're doing Matrix and they're doing
I'm kind of okay with that.
See, I'm not. I'm like, I don't need, and they just did it with like Kristen Bell with her she's a detective.
Alias, no.
A detective. I don't
know.
You know what I'm talking about. I watched it and I can't freaking remember.
Rod is right on the money. He said, we already got the perfect Princess Bride remake, Deadpool 2, the PG-13 version. Oh, so good.
Yeah,
so
that's
good.
true.
Those little added
It was
scenes
a
were
nice
so perfect.
tribute.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was great.
So, I don't know.
I mean, like, I don't love those movies, but I mean, basically the last couple Star Wars have been that.
It's just though...
Which I you know...
Which, that's fine. Like, because that's a whole new movie where they're just...
They're side characters.
Yeah,
they're not
side
the main characters.
Exactly. And I just don't
I know a lot of people don't agree with me. I still love The Force Awakens. I love that movie.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody's just like, oh, it's just a New Hope, but redone. I was like, yeah.
Veronica Mars.
That's it, Veronica Mars.
Thank you. Thank you, George.
Thanks, George. But yeah, I love that movie, and like, they needed to do that after those awful prequels. Oh, they're so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it feels like a stretch. It feels like they're like, well, we don't want to do a remake, and we don't want to do a reboot, so we're just gonna bring them back, like Bill and Ted, like everything that they're doing. Where I'm like,
I forgot about the Bill and Ted one too.
Yes, it's just like a bunch of
like.
like.
Oh, did they do the Dumb and Dumber one too?
Yes, they did Dumb and Dumber, and you're like, why?
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, so I don't know.
But yes, thank you, George. I don't know, is it the fact that we're drinking or the fact that we don't have any access to our phones to check these things?
Yeah.
Because of the same thing. But yeah, a movie like Princess Bride though, because I know, is it Flash or is it Masters of the Universe that they keep talking about remaking? It's one of those two that somebody keeps...
Both? I wouldn't be surprised if it was both.
It could be both. But like that's on an edge for me because I love how perfectly campy they are.
Yeah.
But
Flash.
Sorry. Every time. When we had him as a guest at first of all, when we had him as a guest at this was the Ontario show,
Ontario.
Right? Yeah, Comic-Con Revolution.
Good Lord.
So we had so many plans because we were like, oh, we want to like party with him. We want to make it so it's like, you know, Ted and Ted 2. Like we were so like stoked about that. But like every time I couldn't help it if somebody said Flash, I'd be like, ah.
And also, that guy's weird.
He was so sweet though. He signed like because
yeah,
I kept bringing him lunch and like all that kind of stuff, and he was like pick one, and I picked my favorite, and he signed it like.
But also
to
like
me
we walked into the hotel and he was like standing there at the bar, and I'm like, I'm gonna just go talk to this guy because it's amazing. He's one of our guests. That's fine. And literally his conversation with me was like. Never order room service. They overcharge you. Just come down to the bar and buy the food there.
And then
ask them to take it to go and then bring it up to your room and eat it.
Like a whole conversation about this. It was
like on
it was
money saving
great.
Tips when you're traveling, and I was like, what? Like,
you're
what
like,
are we
thanks,
talking about? Thanks.
Flash.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Eric agrees. So many remakes, not enough originality. And the thing is that like.
There's original stuff out there. Yeah. It's just not getting made.
Exactly. Like we know so many amazing creative people and like with these amazing stories to tell, and it's like, well, what if?
Speaking of, okay, so last weekend I saw Hustlers, okay, and that's got, you know, Jennifer Lopez in it, and it has like like Lizzo, it had, I think it was Cardi B that was in
it. It is Cardi B. It's my girl.
It was so good.
Was it good? Okay, good.
It was good. And here's the thing with that. It was done by Dirty Sanchez Productions, which apparently, and that's Will Ferrell. And
I didn't know
that's
that.
his production company that did it. But it's called, oh shoot, now I wish, if Marcus is watching, he can tell me. They started a new branch of their production company, which is shows that are directed and produced by females with all female stars, like exactly what we were talking about. And so they got on it, and Hustlers is their first movie.
I mean,
but
as
honestly,
soon as I saw that cast, I was like, this is good. I was a little sad though, I'm not gonna lie, because the storyline is a little similar to a movie that one of my friends wrote basically for me. Remember when you came over to watch it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you remember?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Oh. Well, it looks amazing. Yeah, and Rod also said Hustlers was way better than I ever expected.
Gloria Sanchez, thank you, Marcus.
Marcus,
yes.
Thanks, Marcus.
So yeah, it was. It's honestly. It's based on a true story in which I looked them all up, and it actually did happen. So it's
That's kind of
essentially
amazing.
Yeah, and J-Lo, by the way, good Lord, that woman's 50.
Did you
and she
see
is
the
amazing.
dress that she wore to the fall fashion week?
No.
So she brought out the same dress that she wore 19 years ago at the fashion week in 2000. And she looks better now. Like, what the F?
Okay, so
what?
she plays a dancer, okay, and she's actually like the ringleader. And she plays this dancer, and it's kind of amazing because like she mentors like this new dancer who's just coming to the club, who's like just like, I can't make any money doing this. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to do this. And like literally J-Lo comes out, and the first thing that she does, and she does this dance, and literally money's just being thrown at her.
Yeah.
And she's crawling on the floor, just holding all of the money, and it's like so amazing, and you're like, oh,
I love it.
I want to be her. Like, and it's just,
I want to be.
She wears like a huge like fur coat, and she just like wraps you in it, and it's just like, it's amazing. And basically what they do is like, you know, the crash happens like, you know, 2008, and basically they do this thing where they go out and they have a crew, and they just lure guys in, drug them a little bit, just so they feel good, and then run up their credit cards, and then the next day they're like, well, I must have had a really good time. And the rich guys.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know.
super, super rich.
And so they're
And
just
it's funny
like,
because actually Cardi B, I feel like a year or two ago, came out and said that she kind of did stuff like that while she was stripping. And everybody kind of came after her, and she's like, I'm sorry, they were all willing and very happy. Like, it's fine. So yeah, I'm
J-Lo's a vampire.
vampire.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I know. She has to do the
a Fly Girl.
Seriously. It's true.
Used to watch In Living Color every week.
Yeah, it's...
When I was a kid, love that show.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to one comment from George, because it was discussing kind of the movies that I'm almost okay with being remade, and he agrees with Flash. Gordon definitely needs a remake with all the technology and special effects you can do right now with movies, make it an epic like Lord of the Rings type trilogy.
I agree.
Now, here's the problem though, because like as little money and as campy it is as like those movies are with Flash Gordon, and with Masters of the Universe, there's still so much heart that's there that sometimes I feel now with technology, like as soon as they like throw a ton of money at it and they focus too much on the special effects, then all the heart is gone. I mean, you see that happen with so many different remakes, as well as
it's just like a really beautiful movie that has no soul.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, well, okay.
But like one of the reasons that Alien is one of the best movies to this day is because they didn't have money and they had to use all their creativity to like make it seem scary and make it seem real and all that kind of stuff, and like that need kind of shows, like it shows so much more heart, and like you're so much more connected to it. It's more raw, and I don't know, like, and we're losing that. And I
agree.
I'm usually a proponent of practical effects as much as possible, but there's ways to use CGI, right? I think the latest Star Trek movies actually show it really well of how to balance, like obviously you need to have the CGI for these huge like spaceships in the background and all that kind of stuff, but then like keep the makeup practical, keep like the characters practical, and like that sort of thing.
I agree with that 100%, because I think these days what's being lost is that people want to spend a lot of money on making everything beautiful post.
Yeah.
And I think it's not necessary. Take that money you're spending and just do it for real. Like, I can't tell you how many times like Marcus and I watch movies and we're just like, from like ages ago, and we're like, that's all real. Like somebody actually did that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's awesome.
It makes it awesome. Like one movie that kept pulling me out of it, which was the newer Sam Raimi horror movie, The Drag Me to Hell. Most of it was practical, but then randomly, I don't know if you remember, like this handkerchief that's like flying is completely CGI, and you're just like, oh god, that's awful. Like that's not even. Knock it off. And it is interesting how some movies like CGI works well. Like, I'm sorry, Jurassic Park still holds up from 1995,
yes, it does.
4, whatever. Still holds up.
It does.
Versus like the Wolverine movie when his claws are literally shifting because the CGI is so bad. Like, But that's my only concern with any remake, especially a remake like Princess Bride, because there's so much heart in that movie. Like and yeah, it's silly. The rats of unusual size, like they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I love it. And you know, there's just some dude in a suit, like as it. Yep. But it's. Oh yeah. Rodents of unusual size, right?
Yeah. Anyway, that's we're wrapping up.
Oh, we're wrapping up.
We're wrapping
Oh,
up.
we could just keep talking forever.
But next weekend,
yeah,
we're gonna be at New York Comic Con.
No.
Weekend after.
Weekend after.
Weekend after.
Guys, we're actually here 2 weeks in a row. What?
Amazing.
But when we were at New York Comic Con, we're going to try to go live from the convention.
Yes.
We're figuring that out
Don't know
now.
if it's gonna happen.
We might have to do it from a hotel room or something like that, so we actually have Wi-Fi and you can hear us. But
we'll figure it out.
But
we'll
yeah.
see what we can do. But I'm kind of excited about that
Is
because
this
I
a-
haven't been to New York Comic Con since 2008.
And
So-
2007 was my very first Comic-Con ever at New York Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And this, I think I just realized, this is the first time we were working 2 separate booths at a convention together.
Yeah.
This is the first time. What?
That's right.
It's going to be weird. I'm going to try to visit you whenever I can.
Yeah. Let me know your location.
Yeah.
You can see how far apart we are.
Be like, Krios!
Like, watch, she's like right there.
Yeah. Like, just staring at each
Staring
other.
at each other throughout the whole thing. Like, yeah.
See you. But yeah, guys, thank you again for joining. I'm sure we'll find more stuff to rage about for next week.
That's right. So thanks for all the birthday wishes.
Yes.
I appreciate you also very much.
She the best. Big number. And also happy Batman Day. Woo! All right, so until next week, we'll see you next time, guys.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.